Alright, so in this video I'm going to be talking about Ethan Klein and Trisha Paytas once again because these two just cannot get over each other. So if you don't remember, a few weeks ago Trisha had like a complete meltdown on Twitter and like released a bunch of DMs between her, Ethan, and Hila. And H3 said he would take a week off from doing podcasts, and Trisha said she was done with all the H3 drama and like just internet drama in general, and she's going to try to stay away from it all. And Trisha actually did better than I expected, trying to avoid talking about drama, because I was honestly surprised she can even go a couple days without talking about it, but she ended up going like I think a couple weeks. I don't know, I could be wrong, but I think she actually did pretty good considering everything that she could be talking about right now. Like Dom from the Vlog Squad made a video the other day addressing his allegations finally, and then there's some girl that interviewed him that like used to work for David Dobrik or something, but now she's trying to expose David Dobrik and like a bunch of people in the Vlog Squad. And I mean, Trisha has to be dying to talk about that, but so far she hasn't commented on it at all, so I'm pretty surprised. But I'd imagine she'll eventually talk about it because I believe she's in contact with the girl that's trying to expose David Dobrik right now, so I'm sure she'll speak up on it soon. But other than the David Dobrik stuff, I believe Shane Dawson's making his comeback to YouTube right now, so I'm sure Trisha would like to give her opinion on that. And then also, of course, Ethan Klein continues to talk about her, especially since some of the David Dobrik drama has started to heat up again, because of course it was Trisha and Ethan that basically exposed David Dobrik in this whole SA scandal. So the other day, right when Dom released his video trying to address things, Ethan and Hila reacted to it on their podcast, and Ethan sounded like he was still completely invested in all the David Dobrik drama, but Hila on the other hand sounded like she was over it and she didn't really want to get involved in any drama right now, especially any drama that's associated with Trisha Paytas, and also like just the subject of SA, because her brother was accused of SAing one of their fans and they have not addressed it yet at all, and it doesn't really seem like they're going to anytime soon. So I'm sure they want to take it easy in terms of trying to expose anybody else right now when they could easily be exposed. And then also I'm sure Hila's just done with all the Trisha Paytas drama. Like in the DMs that Trisha leaked between all them, it sounded like Hila was just over it. Like it sounded like she wants nothing to do with Trisha anymore. She like just can't stand her and she's tearing her family apart. So when they reacted to Dom's video, it sounded like Hila just kind of wanted to move past it and not get involved in any of that stuff right now. But of course Ethan like wanted to watch the whole thing and he was like really excited by it all. And then of course Ethan also had to bring up Trisha, which I'm sure Hila did not want to hear.
Maybe someone else should watch and tell us if there's something good.
Now let's talk about what happened.
No?
You are?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You interested? What do you guys think? Trisha just disavowed making any drama videos. This is a true test for her. Yeah, I feel there's no way Trisha doesn't make a video about this.
So here it looks like Hila's done with all the David Dobrik drama and she probably just wants to move past it all, especially considering it involves Trisha. And of course, if Ethan's going to talk about the David Dobrik drama, he's probably going to bring up Trisha Paytas too. And I'd imagine that Hila's told Ethan that she doesn't want to talk about Trisha Paytas on the podcast anymore because she probably doesn't want to give her any opportunity to like make a video about them or respond to them, because I feel like the safe move here from H3 would probably be trying to stay out of any drama, at least for the next few months, because Hila's pregnant obviously and they've already gone through enough drama with their family. And then also Trisha's getting married to Moses soon apparently, and then also the Moses allegations that people really haven't talked about much. I just feel like right now wouldn't be the best time to get Trisha Paytas all worked up, and you just don't want to give her any ammo to use against you to start more drama and like cause family problems. And I bet Ethan and Hila both agree with that. But for Ethan, when it comes to internet drama and Trisha Paytas, he just cannot help himself. Like in their most recent podcast, Ethan brings up Jason Nash and Trisha Paytas, and Hila wants to have nothing to do with those two.
Subscribe to the podcast recently? Is that what that shows?
Shout out to his family.
I have to say, I have very conflicted feelings about Jason after everything that's happened. The thing is, like, obviously what happened with Seth was fucked up. And that's something that he needs to own and apologize for. But all the Trisha details, like the dog thing we showed, I mean, that was just a flat-out fabrication. So everything Trisha said about him, I don't know what to believe anymore, you know?
You're not gonna get any response from me, so let's move on.
Could we have Jason as a... Let me ask you this. Could Jason ever be like a guest on the podcast?
Oh my God.
Could we have a conversation with him?
Let's move on.
The Pandora's box is open.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long week.
Hey, I'm free at Marketplace of Ideas, bro. This is the marketplace of ideas. I mean, obviously I would confront him on issues that need to be talked about, right? It wouldn't be just like a...
So as you can obviously tell, Hila does not want Ethan bringing up Jason Nash and Trisha Paytas. And I feel like this is pretty inconsiderate for Ethan to do because clearly his wife is uncomfortable with this topic and doesn't want them talking about it. Like, you could tell that this is a topic that they've discussed many times behind the scenes. And Hila has probably made it known that she does not want Ethan talking about anybody in the vlog squad or anybody that has to do with Trisha Paytas, and she just wants him staying away from all that stuff. But Ethan clearly doesn't care. Like, you could tell she was uncomfortable and she said, "You're not going to get an opinion from me. I don't want to talk about this." Ethan still just continues going in, and then he's like, "What do you think if we had Jason Nash on the podcast?" And you could tell by the staff's reaction that this is something that Hila does not want to happen, and she does not want Ethan bringing it up. Like, Hila clearly does not want to be talking about this right now. Like, right when Ethan says, "What's your opinion on having Jason Nash on the podcast?" AB's like, "Oh my god," like, he knows that this is something that she does not want to talk about right now. And it's understandable. Like, they have gone through so much with Trisha. Like, first of all, she was calling Hila like the B word, the C word. Like, she clearly has some animosity towards Hila, and she was like trashing their parenting skills and their family, and Ethan would let Trisha get away with a lot of this stuff. Like, Trisha would say some terrible things about Hila, but Ethan would welcome her right back on the podcast the next episode. And also another problem that they're dealing with right now are the Moses allegations, which they obviously do not want to get into right now and don't want to address, and kind of just want to sweep that under the rug. And then also Hila's pregnant, which I'm sure makes things like 10 times harder for her. So I'd imagine that she just wants Ethan to lay low right now and not start any drama and not mention Trisha Paytas. But Ethan can never help himself, and he's always going to choose money and good content and views over like his family, basically. Like, talking about Trisha Paytas every podcast, and then if they had Jason Nash on the podcast, like, that would not help their personal life in any way. Like, apparently Trisha has already done a ton of damage to this family. Like, Hila said in that leaked message that Trisha posted, she said, "My mom is having a mental breakdown and my whole family is basically broken down." And she's saying it's all Trisha and Moses' fault, pretty much. So if it's true that their family is just a complete mess right now and everyone's breaking down, then you would imagine that they're just going to try to stay away from Trisha Paytas or anything that has to do with her. Like, they wouldn't even mention her at all on the podcast, because Trisha would probably use like anything you say against her to make a video and a bunch of responses and stir up more drama. And I'm sure that's something Hila wants to avoid as much as possible, at least until she has her kid. And also on one of the family's podcasts, they talked about Ethan's mom was messaging Trisha saying that like if Hila has a miscarriage, it's all her fault and she's like such a terrible person. So if you think that this drama between them and Trisha could cause a miscarriage for your daughter-in-law, you would think that you just leave it alone with Trisha and not bring her up at all. But of course this family can't do that because they're toxic as hell. They love the drama, they love putting on a show, they love doing this for entertainment. Like, even Ethan's mom will still like tweets making fun of Trisha. And I know that's not the worst thing in the world, but like, if you think Trisha is such a terrible person and like she's just destroying your family and she could cause your daughter-in-law to have a miscarriage, you'd think that you'd be a mature adult and just stop talking about this person completely. But these people are playing with fire here and just don't really seem to care. Like, the only person that cares is Hila, because she's the one who's probably going through the most stress right now. Like, these people are so immature. Like, even Ethan's mom just liking that one tweet, you know that that could cause Trisha to just go on a fucking rampage and try to destroy the whole family again. Like, I feel like these people just don't respect Hila that much. Like, I'm sure she has told them just to shut up about Trisha and don't mention it at all or don't do anything that involves her. But Ethan is still out here taking shots at Trisha and trying to get her riled up. Like, the other day he bought these like Garbage Pail Kids cards and he opened them on his podcast, and Trisha was on one of them and she was like in a trash can. And also he's having people make memes of her that he would show on his podcast. Like, and you just think that this probably isn't the best time for all that stuff, especially considering your wife is pregnant and like she's already gone through so much, and your brother-in-law is getting in trouble, and like Trisha's still in your life. It's all too recent. But all Ethan really cares about at the end of the day is making good content, making a bunch of money, and being successful and being popular. And he knows if the David Dobrik and Trisha Paytas drama continues, then he is definitely going to get more views and make more money. Like, on the H3 Highlights channel, the most viewed video from them this month by quite a bit is them talking about Trisha Paytas, obviously. Like, they clickbaited her in the title and they put a picture of her like blurred out, but like obviously you know who it is because her name's in the title. And then in the video they even said like Trisha's gonna respond to this. So like, they don't really care if Trisha responds. They don't care if the drama continues, because that just means they're gonna make more money and become more popular. The only person that doesn't want them to continue it is Hila, but I guess they just don't care that much about her feelings. Like, I honestly feel like if Hila was cool with Trisha all of a sudden, Ethan would welcome her back on his podcast like in an instant, because Ethan's already made it pretty clear that he put up with a lot from Trisha. Like, Ethan let Trisha get away with so much on that podcast. Like, she would trash his wife all the time, she would trash their parenting skills, she bullied one of their employees and said like he's a piece of shit and an asshole, and said he deserves to be fired, and I think she even said he deserves to die. And if you don't remember what happened in that situation with AB, go check out one of my videos from a few weeks ago. I talked about it in the video titled Ethan Klein let Trisha Paytas get away with way too much on frenemies, and then also Ethan Klein should not have started started frenemies with Trisha Paytas. Like, Trisha was just ruthless to this kid. Like, she hated him so much, and like Ethan really didn't even step in at all. Like, he would just let her talk shit to him, and he would just laugh at it, basically. So I mean, on the frenemies podcast, Ethan just tried to keep his head down and just continue and keep that podcast together as best as possible. Like, no matter what Trisha was doing or what happened, he just wanted that to continue. And now I think he just misses like the drama-filled content that they're making and like getting all the views that they had. And that's why I think he wants to have Jason on, because it'd be like the old style of content that he had with Trisha. Like, when they had Jeff Whittick on, it'd be like the exact same thing. And then also Ethan knows that this would get Trisha involved and her speaking up again, which at the end of the day, I think he wants overall. Like, I don't think it matters if Trisha's on his side or if she's talking shit to him. I think he wants like some kind of interaction with her again. Like, in one of his more recent podcasts, he even complimented Trisha and said he's pretty impressed that she hasn't talked about any of the David Dobrik drama so far.
I'm super. I gotta say, I guess I gotta tip the beanie a little bit to Trisha, who hasn't commented on this yet. I mean, can you do me a favor, Cam? Can you do the meme of that guy who's like, his face is bulging? Yeah. But do Trisha on it? Yeah, thank you. Because she said she called off talking about people, right? So when I saw this David and Natalie stuff coming up, I was like, oh my God, dude, this is going to be a real challenge for her. And so far, I have to say, she's succeeding in that. So I guess that's a compliment to Trisha.
Like, I feel like this is just unnecessary. Like, I know it shouldn't trigger Trisha that much, but like, I feel like, what's the point here? Like, why do you need to talk about her? Like, right now, she seems like the mature person. Like, she hasn't talked about H3 that much. Like, I know she did the other day, like, briefly, but like, Ethan's talked about her a lot more and taken shots at her a lot more. And she hasn't even talked about the David Dobrik drama at all, which is incredible. And I just feel like since she's not talking about any drama anymore, then Ethan shouldn't really bring her up anymore. But obviously, Ethan can do whatever he wants. It's his podcast. But I feel like if their family starts to go through more drama and turmoil with Trisha, I feel like Ethan and his mom have to be equally to blame. Like, they're basically egging her on and like daring her to do something, which is a very dangerous game, especially considering that Ethan's mom said that Hila could have a miscarriage due to Trisha. So if Ethan and his mom keep taking these passive-aggressive shots at Trisha, even after Trisha said, please stop talking about me, and I know in the past Trisha has talked about Ethan a lot more than him talking about her, but like right now Trisha's doing pretty good. So I feel like for Ethan and his mom to keep poking the bear, like they are just asking for trouble here. And if Trisha finally did explode again and use all the stuff that they've been saying to like make videos and responses, then they are equally to blame, because they know what they're getting themselves into right now. Like, these two are so irresponsible. They're basically putting their family's health at risk. Like, there's no need for them to be talking about Trisha Paytas right now or taking any kind of jabs at her, especially considering everything they've already been through and how serious this has gotten. You'd think that they'd act like mature adults and not mention her anymore for the safety and health of their family. But right now it looks like they'd rather stir up drama, even though clearly Hila is not comfortable with it and does not want them talking about her anymore. Like, I guarantee if Ethan had the opportunity to have Jason Nash and Trisha Paytas on his podcast, there's no way he could turn that down, even if Hila was begging him not to do it. And I bet when they do talk about the Trisha Paytas situation behind the scenes, Hila probably always says, like, I do not want you talking about her, but I guarantee Ethan probably brings up the fact that her brother's dating her, because he probably says, like, hey, your brother's the reason that we could be potentially connected to her forever. And if she's going to be involved in our lives no matter what because of your brother, we might as well get used to it and take advantage of some of the drama that she brings. Like, I think Ethan would look for a way to bring Trisha back onto the podcast. Like, I don't know if he'd start a new podcast with her or like just have her on for like an episode or two, but I think he would definitely let her back on, because I could see Trisha breaking down one day and saying like she screwed up and she apologizes and she knows that she is like a bad person now and she just wants to change, and she would say that she misses the podcast a lot and that's like the best thing that ever happened to her, and she would try to get Ethan to accept her again and bring her on the podcast. And I think Trisha would do this because there's really no other move from her unless like some other giant YouTuber brings her in, like maybe Keemstar or somebody, but she's definitely aware of how her views are going down and her like to dislike ratio is terrible, and like people just do not support her or respect her anymore. And she remembers just 4 or 5 months ago she's probably had her most support ever, and people loved her and they said she changed and she's a great person now and everyone was taking her seriously and she's on a hit podcast and making a ton of money. And I just think she knows that her best opportunity here would be to apologize and try to get Ethan to support her again and maybe have her back on his podcast. And I think Ethan would have her back on and give her a second chance, well, like more like a 4th or 5th chance, but like Hila is the only one standing in the way of that, as you know, because Trisha hates Hila, and everyone knows she hates Hila, and I think Hila has probably just had enough with Trisha, and no matter what Trisha does, I don't think Hila would ever welcome her back. And I'm not saying that Hila would never think of Trisha or Moses as family again. I'm just saying I don't think Hila would want Ethan working with Trisha again, because if Ethan and Hila are on good terms with Moses and Trisha again, I feel like he probably wouldn't want to ruin that by making content out of all of it. Like, I just think the best thing for their family would be to keep all the drama off the internet, which seems crazy because it's Trisha Paytas, but she's actually done a pretty good job recently of not mentioning Ethan or Hila, and Ethan's given her plenty to talk about, and also the David Dobrik stuff is heating up again. So I think it could get to a place where Ethan and Trisha are on good terms again, but I think it could be ruined again by them trying to make like a reality TV show out of their family. Like, that's basically what Ethan did on Frenemies. Like, the whole world was invested into their family drama, and then right when Frenemies ends, he starts a podcast with his mom and dad. Like, I do not understand how that's a smart move. Like, it was definitely not the right time to start a podcast with your family. Like, there's so much internet drama going on between Ethan and Trisha, and then Ethan's like, you know what, I'm just gonna drag my mom and dad into this now. It just seems so stupid, like starting a podcast with your mom and dad where you talk about really serious family drama that you're going through and like miscarriages and stuff like that. Like, they probably barely know how the internet works, and now their personal life is like shown to millions of people, and they have Trisha fans attacking them, and they're getting into Twitter battles, and it just seems like something I would not want to drag my parents into. And Ethan had to know that he was dragging his parents into this. Like, things between him and Trisha were so toxic at the time, there's no way he'd bring his parents on and not talk about their family drama. And I just think for a while Ethan was choosing to monetize his family drama and problems. Like, the title of this episode of Families is called What Did My Mom Text Trisha? So he's clickbaiting and monetizing some serious family drama he's going through. And I'm not trying to say that he can't do that or anything. Like, if that's what he wants to do, go right ahead and do it. But I just think it's stupid that he acts like he's the victim and Trisha is the only problem here, when he's playing along with it by monetizing some of the toxicness in his family and then continuing to talk about Trisha Paytas. Because Ethan clearly wants to get some kind of reaction out of Trisha by talking about her. Like, after everything their family's gone through and how serious things have gotten, and how much Hila and Trisha hate each other, and the fact that Hila doesn't really want Ethan talking about her anymore, and Ethan still decides he wants to continue talking about her and make memes of her and like make jokes about her, he obviously wouldn't mind that much if Trisha starts talking about him again. So if they start going back and forth again and things get really serious and everything blows up in their face, I'm not going to feel bad for either one of them because we've already gone through this. Like, at this point, you're just asking for it. Alright, so that's about all I have for this video. Make sure you leave me a comment, let me know what you think of this situation, and then make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you at the next video.